Hello. Say hello to Mr. Cheekity. Oh, hi. Okay, I got him at Target, and I'm clearly a child, so don't mind that. So I wanted to record a very quick video to give a little update on what I was able to accomplish this weekend when it came to reading, and for once I was able to actually finish a couple books and to really enjoy myself while doing it. So I was super excited to pop on the interwebs and share with you guys what went down. Dizzy down. Chicka chicka ow. First book is John Dies at the End by David Wong. And as I said in a previous video, I wasn't quite sure what to make of this book. It was unlike anything I had ever read before. And I've got to say, after finishing it, I really did enjoy it. So I mean, it was completely innovative when it came to the plot structure, the plot in general, the ways of thinking that these characters had, the devices that allowed us to walk into these multiple dimensions. Everything about this book was new. And that was exciting to me. I could look past the really crude, disgusting humor and enjoy the story. However, when it comes to recommending this book to people, I don't know if I feel comfortable doing that. Because I don't want to say, this is a book for any specific type of person to read. I think if you looked at the book and looked at me, you would not think that we were compatible just because I think it's really based for a male audience. And I'm not trying to be gender biased, but looking at the Goodreads reviews and whatnot, mostly men read and reviewed this book. So I don't know, and obviously it was written by a man, and there's a lot of very manly humor, like potty mouth, potty jokes, bodily functions, but as a child, I kind of had a thing for reading those really big, gross out, scary stories, so this was kind of right up my alley. There is a sequel, something about dude, don't touch this book, it's spiders, or something like that, and I've heard good things about it as well. It was released in 2012, I believe, and I'm going to be picking that up, and I'm also going to be watching the movie, so watch out for a little blurb on what I thought of the movie versus the book, but really did like this, and I was really glad to finish it this weekend. The second book I started and finished this weekend was a little mini project with my little bestie in Texas, my friend in Texas, Laura, and that is Divergent by Veronica Roth. I won't say very much about this book because everyone knows about Divergent. Everyone. And I've got to say, the book lives up to its hype. So that was super exciting for me to really finally read a book that was just as good as everyone said it is. And you can see, this is the first time I've ever actually, annotated a book. So, sorry, the lights are a little crazy and it's nighttime here. So you can see I did posted off a few quotes that I really enjoyed, and I wrote quite a few post-it notes. I'm looking right now for a particular one that I think reflects how scholarly my project was. You can see here on this post-it note on page 287 that I wrote, "Zounds, swoon, 4 in a heart." Obviously, I have returned to middle school, and that's okay. This book was just so good. I love Triss. I love 4. I love the world. I love this dystopian Chicago setting. I love everything about Divergent. I cannot wait to read Insurgent. I cannot wait for this to become a movie. So much awesome. I can hardly stand it. The last book that I finished, actually last night at the gym, was Marr, Carnival of Souls. And this book, I have mixed feelings about, and I'll just briefly tell you why. I do recommend it. However, I went into reading this book thinking that I was reading a standalone novel, and then as I finished, I very quickly realized this was not a standalone. It was in fact going to be a series, and most everyone knows my feelings on series by now, and if you don't, I'm tired of them. Period. I'm just tired of series. There are many series that I love and enjoy. However, I really find it much more satisfying to read a standalone book and be immersed in a world and then be able to resolve that world and the conflict at the end of a text. I think that really masterful authors can build in one book what some authors take 3 and 4 books to do. And oftentimes I feel like many of these new series are just full of fluff and full of things that we don't actually need as readers to make more money. And I hate to say that, and this is my own opinion, perhaps I'm completely incorrect, but there have been a couple trilogies I've read, I won't name names of trilogies, that I honestly felt that if we rewrote these like 1,100 pages over the span of 3 books, and we really edited it down, there could have been a 450-page book that was beautiful and masterful and moved at a fast clip, but then again, you wouldn't be able to charge $18 plus $18 plus $18 for every single book, you know? So that's kind of my own opinion. I still read series, I still buy series, and there are some series that I'm very loyal to. So with all that being said, with that really long intro to this book, I like the world Marissa Marr created. It's the story, just a quick 10-second synopsis, is about a girl named Mallory who's living in the human world, and then a demon, I called them demons the entire time in the book, a demon named Caleb who lives in the city, and the city is kind of like a parallel world where demons live, and then there are witches as well who have been expelled from the city, who are mortal enemies of the demons, and who live in the human world. And so this is kind of the conflict we have here. Witches versus demons, a rise to power, and a carnival of souls, where there is a giant, if you can think of UFC demon style, that's kind of what's going on in the Carnival of Souls. There's this like brawl, like fight to the death match to win an ultimate prize, which is to rule alongside Marcosius, who is the leader of the city. And so Caleb is in this fight. We also have another narrator named Aya, who is a female and is a ruling cast member female who's entered these fights. And then, as I told you, there's Mallory in the human world, and then there's Belios, and he's another demon. And those are kind of the 4 POVs we have in the story. That being said, I felt like nothing was really happening in this story until the end. And I always feel this way with the first books in series, because it's so much build-up, and then at the end, we finally, things get going, and then the author says, and saves the actual climax and action for the sequel. And so I feel like many times when you enter a writing project in general, and you have an idea in your mind, this is kind of what happens. You end up just splitting the parts of the book into 3 books. So your first book just ends up being your exposition. And then we finally get rising action and climax in the second book, and then the third book is like the falling action and the resolution. And I hate that. Like, each book should follow the arc, and we should be able to enjoy each book as it is and not have to read all 3 books. Oh my gosh, I'm on a soapbox and I see that I've already went 8 minutes. But anyways, I did give Marissa Marr's book, I think, 3 stars. It was pretty good. The tone was awesome. That's what I loved the most about this book, was how dark it was. I seriously felt like I was in the city and I wanted to leave that city because it was super creepster. I felt scared, and it was awesome. And some of the characters I really did love. One of our minor characters named Zevi, he's awesome. He's probably my favorite character in the entire book. But that being said, I don't know if I'll read the second one. If I can get a ebook deal like I did the first one, I might read it on the elliptical or something. But yeah. So those are the 3 books I finished this weekend. I'm very proud of myself for doing that. I still have many, 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 many more books to read. So I'm going to keep going, because between the books and going to boxing class, there's way too much that still has to be done tonight. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you've read any of those books, please, please, please tell me what you thought of them below. Also, kind of sound off about series in general. Do you feel the same way as I do? I'm wondering, am I the only person who's kind of sick and tired of series? Are there some of you out there who are kind of team standalone like me? All right, so great to talk to you guys. Say bye. Bye.